The shuttle touched down on the quiet world with a soft thud. The dust of the silver forest rose in the air and shimmered like fine powder. Ryan sat in his seat for a moment, staring at the strange glow outside. His heart beat faster than normal, but he kept his face calm. He had trained for many missions, but this one felt different. His orders were short, and they carried no clear reason. The message from command only said that he was to meet the leader of this world and speak with her. Ryan stepped out of the shuttle and felt the ground under his boots. The soil was smooth, almost like glass, and the trees around him rose high with shining leaves. The forest seemed alive with light. It was not like Earth, where forests whispered with birds and wind. Here, the silence was deep, as if the world was holding its breath. He checked his scanner. The device blinked, showing a signal from a few steps ahead. That was where the meeting point was set. He walked slowly, careful not to seem like a soldier on the hunt. His uniform was plain, and his weapon stayed at his side, but his eyes moved across every corner of the forest. Ryan had been a soldier long enough to know that beauty often hid danger. The signal led him to a clearing where a small river glowed with soft blue light. Across the water stood a figure. She was taller than most humans, her skin faintly bright like the river itself, her hair falling like silver strands. Her eyes were clear and sharp, and they rested on him the moment he stepped into the open. For a long moment, neither of them spoke. The silence of the forest stretched between them like a wall. Ryan could feel the tension in the air. She did not seem afraid, but she also did not seem welcoming. Her stance was strong, her shoulders held high, and her gaze unbroken. Then she spoke. Her voice was calm, but it carried a question that struck straight into Ryan's chest. "Did you come to kill me?" The words echoed through the clearing, clear and heavy. Ryan stopped where he stood. His hand twitched near his side, not towards his weapon but in simple surprise. He had expected questions, but not this one. The directness of her voice felt like a blade. Ryan took a slow breath. He did not move closer yet. He kept his eyes on hers, letting her see that he was not hiding. "No," he said. His voice was steady, but inside he felt the weight of the moment. "I did not come to kill you." The alien woman tilted her head slightly, studying him. She did not relax. Her hands stayed at her side, but he could tell she was ready to defend herself if needed. "Humans do not step on other worlds without reason," she said. "So why are you here?" Ryan looked at the glowing river for a moment before answering. He thought of the message from command, the half-truths, the silence in the briefing room. He knew he was not meant to share everything yet. But he also knew that if he lied, she would see through it. "I was sent to meet you," he said. "That is the order I was given. To speak with you and to see your world." Her eyes narrowed. To see, or to judge? Ryan took another step forward, slow and clear. The river glowed between them, but he did not cross it yet. "To understand," he said. "And to warn." The last word slipped out of his mouth before he could stop himself. He had not meant to say it so soon, but it felt wrong to hold it back. The look in her eyes told him that she had caught it. "Warn?" she asked. Her voice was softer now, but still guarded. Ryan nodded. He felt the weight of his mission pressing on him. The true reason for his presence was not about peace or study. It was about danger, a danger greater than either of their peoples had faced alone. "Yes," he said. "There is something coming. Something that will not stop at your borders or mine. That is why I am here." For the first time, The alien woman's stance shifted. Her shoulders lowered just a little, though her gaze stayed sharp. She did not look away from him. "You speak as if you are not my enemy," she said. "I am not," Ryan answered. His voice was calm, steady, almost quiet. "I came here to protect you." The words hung in the air, as heavy as her first question. Protect. It was not a word she had expected from a human soldier. The alien woman studied him again, this time longer. She seemed to weigh his tone, his stance, his every breath. Her people had told her of humans driven, restless, reaching into the stars with hunger. She had been told they could not be trusted. Yet here stood one before her, speaking of protection, not conquest. "Your words are simple," she said at last. "But words are easy. How do I know you speak truth?" Ryan thought of the battles he had seen, of the enemies that had burned worlds behind them. He thought of the fear in the eyes of people who had no defense, no shield, no warning. He thought of the message from command, the fear in their voices when they spoke of the coming storm. "You will know," he said, "because I stayed my hand when you asked me if I came to kill you. You will know because I chose to speak, not fight. And you will know when the danger comes, because I will be here with you, not against you." The clearing grew silent again. The glowing river rippled with a soft sound, the only voice in the forest now. She said nothing more, not yet. But she did not walk away either. Ryan stayed where he was, waiting, calm but ready. He knew this was only the beginning. Trust was not won in a single word, but perhaps in a single choice, it could begin. Above them, the sky was clear, but Ryan knew it would not stay that way for long. The silence of the silver forest stretched on. Ryan stood steady, and across the glowing river the alien woman remained unmoved. She had not attacked him, and she had not walked away. That, to Ryan, felt like a small victory. Her eyes, however, never lost their sharpness. They were like two mirrors, catching his every word and every breath. When she spoke again, her voice was calm but pressed with weight. "You said you came to protect me. Protect me from what?" The question felt simple, yet it carried a depth that made Ryan pause. He could not give her the full truth yet. Command had told him that details of the threat were not to be shared until trust was built. But her words carried no anger, only demand. She wanted truth, not comfort. Ryan chose his answer carefully. "There are things moving in the dark of space," he said. "Things that do not care for life, things that do not see difference between one people and another. They only move forward, and when they pass, nothing remains." Her gaze did not shift. "And you say you are not one of those things?" Ryan shook his head. "I am human. I will not pretend my people are perfect. We have made mistakes, and many worlds look at us with doubt. But we are not what is coming. We fight to survive, just as you do." The woman studied him in silence again. Her silver hair caught the light of the river, and her skin seemed to glow faintly in the still air. Then she stepped forward. Her foot touched the water, and the surface rippled under her weight as if it welcomed her. She crossed the river slowly until she stood only a few steps from him. Up close, Ryan could see that her eyes were not only sharp but also layered with something deeper. There was caution, yes, but also a kind of quiet sadness. "My people call me Leary," she said at last. Ryan nodded, taking her name as a sign of trust. "I am Ryan." Her lips curved slightly, not quite a smile but something softer than before. Yet her next words came strong. Why do you risk yourself to speak with me? If what you say is true, then danger follows you. Why place yourself in the path of another world's fight? Ryan thought about that question long before he answered. He could hear his own voice inside, the voice of training and duty saying that he was here because command sent him. But another part of him, quieter but stronger, told him there was more. I came because someone must, he said. If danger comes to you, it comes to us as well. If we turn our heads and pretend not to see, then when the fire reaches earth, no one will stand with us. I protect you because protecting you means protecting all of us. Leary tilted her head again. Her people had spoken of humans as selfish, always taking, always reaching. But this soldier spoke of shared fate, not conquest. His words did not match the stories. You speak of unity, she said, but humans often fail to unite even with each other. Ryan let out a quiet breath. That is true. We argue. We fight among ourselves. We waste time and strength. But when the storm comes, when the true danger rises, we find a way. It is not always pretty, but it is real. And that is why I am here. To show that even with our flaws, we stand when it matters most. Leary's eyes softened just a little. It was the first time she allowed herself to believe his words might hold weight. She turned her gaze toward the sky above the glowing trees. The stars shimmered faintly, calm and distant. Yet she knew that beyond them, there were forces moving. My people have heard whispers, she said. Ships vanishing. Colonies falling silent. We thought they were rumors. Now you tell me they are not. They are not, Ryan said. His voice carried no hesitation. What you heard is true. They are moving closer. That is why command sent me here. To warn, and to build something before it is too late. She looked back at him, her face unreadable. And if I refuse to trust you? Ryan's answer was simple. Then I will still stand here when the danger comes. Whether you accept my hand or not, I will not walk away. His voice was steady, and his stance unshaken. The silence that followed was long, but this time it did not feel heavy. It felt like space opening between them, space where something new could grow. Leary finally turned and walked a few steps away, her eyes on the glowing river. Her voice was quieter now. You speak with certainty. Perhaps too much certainty. But I will listen a little longer. Ryan allowed himself a small breath of relief. It was not full trust, but it was not rejection. It was a door half open. They walked along the river together, side by side, though with a careful distance. Leary asked him about his people, their ships, their lives on Earth. Ryan spoke of oceans, of skies filled with color, of cities alive with noise and light. He told her not only of soldiers but also of builders, dreamers, children. He wanted her to see humans not as invaders, but as people with stories and hopes. In turn, she spoke of her world. She told him of towers that grew like crystal from the ground, of energy drawn from rivers and stars, of voices that could shape the flow of light itself. Her people did not fight wars often, but they had always prepared for them. She spoke with quiet pride, yet Ryan could hear worry beneath her words. When the night came, the silver forest glowed softly under the stars. The two of them stood on a high ridge, looking out across the shining land. Leary broke the silence once more. Ryan. You say you came to protect me. Yet you have not told me the full shape of the danger. Do you fear that if I know too much, I will not believe you? Ryan's chest tightened. He wanted to speak the full truth, to tell her of the dark fleet that consumed everything in its path. But he also knew that to speak too soon could break the fragile bond forming between them. "I will tell you," he said softly. "But not tonight. For now, all I ask is that you let me stand beside you." Leary studied him in the glow of the forest. For the first time, her eyes held not only sharpness but also a trace of something new, perhaps curiosity, perhaps hope. "Very well," she said. "Stand beside me. We will see if your words hold when the storm comes." Ryan nodded. He knew the real test was yet to come. But for tonight, he had taken the first step. And above them, the stars remained silent, hiding the truth of what was moving closer with every passing day. The night air was still when Ryan woke. He had rested near the edge of the glowing river, his back against a smooth crystal rock. The silver forest whispered faintly now, as if the world itself was breathing in sleep. He sat up and looked around. Leary was standing a short distance away, her eyes fixed on the stars. She had not slept. Her kind, he learned, could rest while standing, letting their minds drift while their bodies remained aware. When she noticed him awake, she turned her gaze from the sky. "You watch the stars as if waiting for them to answer," Ryan said. "They should answer," Leary replied. Her voice was calm but laced with unease. "We send signals across the black, and sometimes they return. But lately, there has been only silence. Too much silence." Ryan nodded. He had heard the same reports from human stations. Colonies gone quiet. Ships that never came back. Rumors that sounded like shadows, yet each rumor had a shape too sharp to ignore. "You are right," he said. "The silence is not empty. It means something moves out there. Something that takes away voices before they can cry for help." Leary's expression tightened. "What is it?" This was the moment Ryan had been holding back. Command had told him to wait, to build trust first. But now, standing here under the starlight, he felt that holding the truth any longer would harm more than help. "There is a fleet," he said. His voice was steady, though the memory of it chilled him. "Not like yours. Not like mine. They do not build to trade. They do not build to explore. They build to erase." Leary's eyes narrowed. "Erase. They move from system to system," Ryan explained. "Their ships burn worlds until nothing lives. They do not speak. They do not send demands. They only consume. No one who has faced them has lived to tell the story. Only fragments, only warnings carried by broken signals." The silence between them grew heavy. Leary's eyes turned to the stars again, but her body stiffened, as if bracing against a storm that had not yet touched her land. "Why have we not seen them?" she asked. Ryan's voice dropped lower. "Because they hide their path. They strike where defenses are weakest. By the time anyone knows, it is already too late." Leary folded her arms, her silver hair brushing against her shoulders. "And you believe they will come here?" Ryan met her gaze. "I know they will. Your world shines with energy. To them, it is not a home. It is fuel." Her eyes glimmered in the faint light, but her voice held firm. "And you came alone to tell me this?" Ryan nodded. "My command did not want to send a fleet yet. They feared that if humans arrived with warships, your people would see it as invasion. So they sent me instead. One soldier with words instead of guns." For a long while, Leary said nothing. She walked to the river's edge and let her hand hover above the glowing water. The light touched her skin as if alive, flowing around her fingers. "My people do not fear war," she said softly. "But we fear being deceived. If what you say is true, then the danger is great. Yet if you are lying, then you are the danger." Ryan stepped forward, his boots pressing into the glass like soil. His voice was calm but carried weight. "I have nothing to gain by lying. If I wanted your world broken, I would not warn you. I would wait for the fire to fall. But I am here, speaking with you, because I will not let it happen without a fight." Her eyes flicked back to him, studying every line of his face. She searched for weakness, for cracks where falsehood might hide. But Ryan held her gaze steady. Finally, she asked, "If this fleet is so strong, how have humans survived?" Ryan let out a slow breath. "We have not faced them fully yet. Only at the edges. We have seen what they leave behind. Burned moons, empty stations, whole colonies erased. We know they are moving closer, but we do not know when or where they will strike next. That is why I am here. To make sure your people are ready before the storm reaches you." Leary's hands tightened slightly at her sides. Her voice grew sharper. "And if we are not ready?" Ryan did not hesitate. "Then we fall. You, me, all of us." The weight of his words pressed against them both. For a moment, the glowing forest felt darker, the stars colder. Leary turned away, her eyes tracing the horizon as if trying to see the danger already on its way. Ryan watched her silently. He knew she carried the burden of a leader. She could not take his words lightly, yet she also could not accept them without proof. After some time, she spoke again. "My people will not believe you by words alone. They will need to see. They will need reason to prepare." Ryan nodded. "Then let me help you. Let me show them what I know, and together we can build a defense. We may not stop the storm, but we can face it with more than fear." Leary looked back at him. Her eyes were no longer sharp blades, but heavy stones carrying thought. "You speak as if you are already one of us." Ryan shook his head gently. "I am human. I cannot change that. But I can stand beside you. Sometimes, that is enough." The forest wind rose, carrying a faint hum through the silver leaves. It felt almost like a voice, though neither of them could understand its song. Leary turned fully toward him at last. "Very well, Ryan. I will listen. I will let you speak to our council. But if your words fail, if they see only fear in your voice, then no alliance will form." Ryan gave a firm nod. "Then I must make sure my words do not fail." Together they began walking toward the heart of her world, where towers of crystal light rose in the distance. The path glowed faintly under their steps, as if the land itself guided them. For the first time since landing, Ryan felt he was not only a messenger. He was a bridge. A single thread connecting two worlds. And though the storm had not yet arrived, he knew the thread must hold, or everything would be lost. Above them, unseen and silent, something stirred in the black of space, moving ever closer. The crystal towers of Leary's city rose like frozen lightning against the horizon. Their walls shimmered as if light itself flowed inside them. As Ryan walked beside her, he felt the ground hum faintly under his boots. It was as though the city was alive, breathing with its people. He had seen many worlds before, yet none like this. Earth cities were built with steel and stone, machines, and glass. This place seemed grown, not built, shaped by harmony instead of force. Even so, he knew beauty alone would not shield it from what was coming. When they entered the outer streets, many eyes turned toward him. The people of this world moved with calm grace, their silver-toned skin glowing faintly in the light of their towers. But their calm broke when they saw Ryan. Whispers rippled through the crowd. Some stepped back, others stared with sharp suspicion. Leary lifted her hand, signaling them to hold their silence. The people obeyed, but their gazes did not soften. Ryan could feel the weight of every look pressing against him. "They do not welcome me," he said quietly. "They remember stories," Leary answered. "Stories of humans who take more than they give. You stand in a place where trust is not given freely." Ryan nodded. "Then I will earn it." They walked deeper into the city until they reached a wide hall at the base of the tallest tower. The doors opened with a soft hum, and inside stood the council. 7 figures waited, each dressed in robes that shimmered like woven light. Their faces were calm but stern, their eyes sharp with question. Leary stepped forward first. "Honored council, I bring a messenger. This is Ryan of Earth. He comes with words we must hear." The council members studied him in silence. Finally, the one at the center spoke. His voice was low, steady, but carried power. "Human," he said. "Why do you walk our streets? Why do you stand before us?" Ryan met the man's gaze. He felt no anger in the words, but there was no welcome either. He drew a breath and spoke clearly. "I came to warn you. A fleet moves in the dark. They do not speak, they do not ask. They destroy. Worlds fall silent in their path. Your world shines bright with life and energy. That makes you a target." The council did not react at once. They only watched him with careful stillness. Finally, another member spoke, her voice sharp like glass. "Why should we believe the words of a human soldier? You say danger comes, yet you bring no proof. You stand alone, without fleet or allies. Why?" Ryan's answer was firm. "Because a fleet would look like invasion. My command knew that. They sent me to speak first, to build trust. If I wanted to deceive you, I would not stand here alone." The council exchanged quiet glances. Some frowned, others looked thoughtful. But doubt still hung in the air. Ryan felt the weight of their silence. He knew words alone would not be enough. So he reached into his pack and drew a small device. With a press, the air above it flickered, forming an image of space. It showed wrecked stations, broken ships drifting in the void, colonies left in ruin. The images were fragments gathered from desperate signals. "These are not stories," Ryan said. His voice was low but steady. "These are truths. This is what they leave behind. This is what waits for you if we do nothing." The council studied the images. Some of their eyes widened, others narrowed, but none looked away. The silence in the hall grew heavier. At last, the central figure spoke again. "If what you say is true, then we stand at the edge of great danger. But tell us, human, why should you care? Why should humans risk themselves for us?" Ryan met his gaze without flinching. "Because if you fall, we fall. If they consume you, they will not stop. No border, no distance will save us. Our survival is tied together, whether we like it or not." The council member held his stare for a long moment. Then he leaned back in his seat, folding his hands. "You speak with certainty. Yet certainty is not trust. Words may be shaped to any purpose." Ryan nodded slowly. "Then judge me not by words, but by actions. Let me stand with you. Let me show you that I came not as enemy, but as ally. The hall grew silent again. Finally, Leary stepped forward. Her voice carried strength. I have walked beside him. He could have raised his weapon when we first met, yet he did not. He chose words instead. He speaks of danger, yes, but he also speaks of protection. I believe we must listen, if only long enough to learn more. The council turned their eyes to her. They trusted her voice, but they also weighed it against caution. After a long pause, the central figure gave a slow nod. Very well, he said. We will not cast him out. But neither will we grant him full trust. He will remain under your watch, Leary. His actions will speak for him. If his deeds match his words, then perhaps he may earn more. Ryan bowed his head slightly. That is all I ask. When they left the hall, the night had deepened. The towers glowed against the dark sky, and the city hummed softly as if alive. Leary walked beside him in silence until they reached the edge of a wide bridge. You spoke well, she said at last. But their trust is like thin glass. One crack, and it will shatter. Ryan leaned on the railing, looking out at the glowing rivers below. Trust should be fragile, he said. If it were too easy, it would have no worth. She studied him for a moment, her eyes searching. Then she gave the faintest nod. Perhaps. For a brief while, they stood in silence. Ryan watched the stars above, wondering which of them already hid the enemy fleet. Leary watched him, still unsure if this human was a shield or a shadow. But in that fragile space between doubt and belief, something had begun to take root. The morning light spread across the crystal towers like fire across glass. The whole city seemed to glow as the sun touched its edges. Ryan stood on a high balcony, watching the rivers below shimmer with soft light. He had not slept much. His mind was filled with images of broken colonies and silent stations. Each time he closed his eyes, he saw again the shadows moving in the dark. When Leary joined him, she carried the same calm expression as always, yet her eyes showed that she too had not rested. She stood beside him without a word for a time. Together, they watched the city wake. People walked across shining bridges. Children ran along the glowing streets, their laughter ringing like small bells. The life of the city felt peaceful, untouched by fear. But both of them knew that peace was fragile. At last, Leary spoke. The council has agreed to hear more from you. But words will not be enough. If you want their trust, you must show them what you can do. Ryan turned toward her. Then let me show them how humans prepare for war. Let me share what I know, so that when the storm comes, you are not caught unready. Leary studied him for a moment. My people do not train as yours do. We use our energy for building, not breaking. But we are not weak. If you will teach, they will listen. So began their days together. Ryan walked the halls of the city with Leary, speaking to groups of soldiers and engineers. He explained how humans built defenses, how they placed shields around their colonies, how they trained in formations to fight together. The soldiers of her people listened carefully. Their eyes showed doubt at first, but also curiosity. They had never seen the discipline of human war. In return, Ryan learned from them. He watched as they shaped light into tools, as they drew power from rivers that seemed alive. Their weapons were not like Earth's. They were elegant, flowing with energy instead of metal and fire. Where humans built walls, they built barriers of light that could bend and shift. Where humans relied on numbers, they relied on precision. One evening, As they stood in a training hall filled with glowing targets, Leary handed Ryan a weapon shaped like a long staff. "This is what we use," she said. "It listens to the one who holds it. Try." Ryan took the staff and felt a hum through his hands, as if the weapon was aware of him. He swung it slowly, and the end flared with light. A target nearby lit up, struck by a beam that shot out without warning. He almost dropped it in surprise. Leary's lips curved in the faintest smile. "It listens, but only to those who are steady. If your mind wavers, it will not obey." Ryan tightened his grip, focused his breath, and swung again. This time the beam flew straighter, hitting the center of the glowing target. Leary nodded. "You learn quickly," she said. "Humans adapt," Ryan replied. "That is what keeps us alive." Over time, they began to share more than skills. They shared thoughts, fears, and memories. Ryan told her of the seas of Earth, waves crashing against endless shores. He told her of storms that tore across the land, and how humans learned to rebuild again and again. Leary told him of her people's songs, voices woven with energy so strong they could light whole valleys. She spoke of their bond with their world, how the rivers carried not only power but memory, the history of their kind flowing endlessly through the land. Slowly, the barrier between them thinned. Where once she had looked at him with suspicion, she now looked with quiet respect. And where once he had seen her as a mission, he now saw her as a leader worth standing beside. Still, doubt remained among her people. One afternoon, as they prepared for another training, a young soldier stepped forward. His eyes burned with distrust. "Why should we learn from him?" the soldier demanded. "He is human. His kind has always taken. Why should we believe he teaches to save us, and not to use us?" The hall grew silent. All eyes turned to Ryan. He could feel the weight of their judgment. He stepped forward slowly. "I will not deny that humans have made mistakes," he said. "We have fought among ourselves, and sometimes we have brought harm where we meant none. But I am not here to take. I am here because if you fall, my people will follow. I stand here because our survival is tied together." The young soldier held his gaze for a long moment, then stepped back. He said nothing more, but the fire in his eyes dimmed. The silence in the hall broke, and the training continued. Leary leaned toward Ryan as they walked away. "You answered well," she said quietly. Ryan shook his head. It was not an answer. It was the truth. As the days passed, the alliance began to take shape. Human discipline blended with alien brilliance. Soldiers trained in formations, while engineers built barriers of light reinforced by human strategy. The council watched closely, doubt still in their eyes, but also a spark of hope. One night, Ryan and Leary stood again on the high ridge where they had first spoken together. The stars stretched above them, bright and endless. "You have given much already," Leary said softly. "You have shared your ways, and you have listened to ours. Perhaps you were right. Perhaps we are stronger together than apart." Ryan looked at her. "Together is the only way we survive. Alone, we are only targets. But side by side, we can fight back." Her eyes met his, calm and steady. "Then let us stand side by side." It was not a full bond yet, not unshakable. But it was more than suspicion, more than doubt. It was the beginning of trust, fragile yet real. Far above them, hidden beyond the light of stars, the first shadow of the coming fleet stirred. The city of crystal towers had never felt so alive. Soldiers moved along glowing streets, their training now sharper, their formations precise. Engineers checked barriers of light, reinforcing the defenses that Ryan and Leary had designed together. The hum of the city was different now. It carried purpose, a pulse of preparation and anticipation. Ryan walked through the streets, observing the progress. He could see the determination on the faces of the alien soldiers. Where once their eyes had held doubt, now they glimmered with focus. He could see the effects of trust beginning to take root. Leary joined him at the edge of a high balcony overlooking the city. "They are ready," she said quietly. "But readiness does not mean victory. Do you know what the storm truly brings?" Ryan's eyes scanned the horizon. Even from here, he could see faint glimmers in the darkness of space. "I know enough," he said. "They are not just ships. They are hunters. They take everything, leaving nothing alive. Their fleet is vast, faster than any of our scouts can detect, and their attacks are precise." Leary looked at him, her expression calm but her eyes betraying concern. "Then we must prepare beyond what we have done. We must anticipate, not just react." Ryan nodded. "That is why I wanted to train with your soldiers and engineers. We combine knowledge, speed, and adaptability. Alone, we may fail. Together, we have a chance." They spent the day moving through the city, inspecting the defenses. Soldiers practiced formations, shifting in patterns Ryan had taught them, their alien weapons integrated with human strategy. Engineers adjusted the energy barriers, ensuring they would withstand the force of the incoming fleet. As night fell, the sky was painted in soft shades of blue and violet. Ryan and Leary stood again on the high ridge. The stars were bright, but there was a sense of quiet tension in the air, as if the universe itself held its breath. "You have done much," Leary said. "Your presence has changed them. Your words, your actions, they have given them purpose. But there is more to come." Ryan glanced at her. "I know. The fleet will not wait. We have little time. We need to coordinate our defenses, ensure everyone knows their role, and be ready to move instantly when the first signs appear." Leary nodded. "Then we begin now." The council convened in the central hall, the heart of the city. Ryan stood beside Leary as they addressed the leaders of the alien forces. The room was filled with tension. Every face was calm, but their eyes held questions. "The fleet approaches," Ryan said plainly. "We do not know when or exactly where, but we know it will come. Your city, your people, your lives, all are at risk. We must act together." The council listened closely. Some of their members still doubted, but the evidence Ryan had shown before, combined with the changes they had seen in the soldiers, began to sway them. Leary spoke next. "We have prepared. With Ryan's guidance, we have learned to combine strength, strategy, and speed. We will stand together. The storm will not find us unready." A murmur of agreement passed through the room. It was quiet, but it carried weight. The alliance was no longer just a possibility, it was a reality forming before their eyes. That night, Ryan patrolled the outer walls of the city, scanning the skies. The sensors detected nothing unusual yet, but he knew that would not last. The fleet was fast and cunning. They would appear suddenly, testing defenses, striking where they were weakest. Leary joined him, standing silently at his side. "Do you think we can hold them?" she asked. Ryan looked at her, then back at the stars. "We will hold as long as we trust each other. Strength comes not from weapons alone, but from knowing that someone stands beside you." Her gaze softened. "Then we stand together." Hours passed. The city remained quiet, but tension never left the air. Every soldier, every engineer, every leader knew the threat that approached. They moved efficiently, yet with a careful precision, preparing for the unknown. Finally, Ryan and Leary returned to the high ridge overlooking the city. The sky was deep and silent, the stars glinting faintly. The calm was deceptive. He knew the storm could arrive at any moment, leaving destruction in its wake. "We have done all we can," Ryan said. "Now we wait for the first sign. We must be ready to act instantly." Leary nodded. "And if we fail?" Ryan's voice was steady, unshaken. "Then we fall together. But I do not intend to fail. Not now. Not here. Not with your people standing with me." Her eyes met his, and for a brief moment, they shared a silent understanding. Both knew the coming hours would test them, test the alliance, and test the trust they had built. The night stretched on. The city glowed softly, alive with preparation. Soldiers moved silently, engineers adjusted the barriers, and scouts monitored the skies. Every movement was precise, every action deliberate. Then, in the distance, a faint shimmer appeared in the void above. It was small at first, almost unnoticeable against the stars. But Ryan's sensors confirmed it. "They are here," he whispered. Leary's hand found his. "Then we face them," she said. Together, they looked at the horizon where the first shadow of the fleet glimmered, moving steadily toward the city. The storm had arrived. Ryan felt no fear, only determination. He had trained with her people, shared knowledge, and built an alliance that could withstand more than doubt or uncertainty. Now, it would be tested by fire. Leary squeezed his hand. "Stand with me," she said. "And I with you," Ryan replied. Above the silver forest, the enemy fleet spread across the black sky, silent and unstoppable. Yet below, the city of light stood ready, its defenders prepared, their hearts united. The coming storm would not find them divided. They would fight together. The sky above the silver forest glowed with the first sparks of battle. Enemy ships had appeared, dark shapes against the stars, moving with silent precision. Ryan and Leary stood together at the city's edge, overlooking the plains where the first clash would occur. "Are we ready?" Leary asked. Her voice was calm, but her eyes held steel. Ryan checked his scanners one last time. Every formation, every barrier, every soldier was in place. "We are ready," he said. "Now it is time to see if trust and preparation are enough." The enemy fleet moved closer, their movements deliberate. Ryan felt a chill, not from fear, but from the weight of the moment. The fleet had destroyed entire worlds before. But he also felt hope. The city below them was alive with preparation, and its defenders no longer feared what they did not understand. They had joined together, human and alien, learning to fight as one. Leary stepped forward, raising her hand. Energy flared from the towers, forming protective barriers that shimmered in the starlight. The soldiers lined up behind them, alien weapons humming with power, human formations ready for any attack. "They will test us," Ryan said. "Strike with their first wave, then we counter. Stick to the plan. Trust in each other." The first strike came suddenly. A fleet of shadowed ships descended from above, firing beams that scorched the outer fields. Ryan moved forward, coordinating the human formations. The alien soldiers responded immediately, blending their energy weapons with human strategy. Barriers held, soldiers advanced, and the first wave faltered. Leary directed her forces with calm precision. Protect the center. Hold the line. Focus. Her voice carried across the battlefield, and every soldier moved as one. Ryan watched in awe. Where humans relied on numbers and strategy, the aliens added speed, precision, and energy manipulation. Together, they formed a defense far stronger than either could have built alone. The battle grew intense. Enemy ships pushed forward, trying to break the barriers. Ryan moved among the soldiers, giving guidance, reinforcing positions. Leary stood at the front, her energy forming beams of light that cut through the darkness, repelling attackers. A sudden strike breached one of the outer barriers. Ryan ran toward it, coordinating reinforcements while keeping the line steady. The enemy tried to exploit a weak point, but human discipline and alien skill closed it immediately. Together, they turned a moment of danger into an advantage. Hours passed, though time felt warped. The sky was filled with flashes of light, beams striking, barriers flaring, soldiers advancing. Ryan and Leary moved side by side, guiding, fighting, and protecting. Each wave of the enemy fleet tested them, but each time, the defenders adapted, learning faster than the attackers expected. Finally, as the battle reached its peak, Ryan and Leary stood together at the highest tower. Below, the city shimmered, alive with energy, alive with hope. "You see it?" Ryan asked. "They cannot break us. Not if we fight together." Leary's eyes softened. "I see it. I see that your words were true. You came to protect us." Ryan nodded, tired but determined. "I did. And we protected ourselves because we trusted each other. That is what makes the difference." The enemy fleet faltered. Their strikes grew less coordinated as the defenders' counterattacks pressed forward. The city's barriers held, soldiers pushed them back, and the combined tactics of human and alien forces began to turn the tide. At last, the remaining enemy ships retreated into the black of space. Silence returned to the forest and the city. The defenders lowered their weapons, exhausted but victorious. Ryan and Leary looked at each other, relief and pride in their eyes. The alliance had held. The city had survived. But more than that, something greater had been achieved: trust between two worlds, hope that they could face the darkness together. Leary stepped closer. "Ryan," she said softly. "You could have left when danger came. You could have fought only for your own people. Yet you stayed. Why?" Ryan looked out at the glowing city, at soldiers helping each other, at the towers reflecting the stars. "Because protecting you was protecting all of us. Because I believed that humans and your people could stand together. And because someone has to choose to do what is right, even when it is hard." Her eyes held quiet understanding. "Then I will ask again, as I did when we first met." She looked directly into his eyes. "Did you come to kill me?" Ryan shook his head, tired but smiling. "No, I came to protect you." The words were simple, yet they carried the weight of everything that had happened: the journey through doubt, the long days of teaching and learning, the battle fought side by side. Leary's lips curved into a faint smile, the first true smile he had seen from her. "Then you are not just a messenger," she said. "You are a friend. And now, perhaps, more than a friend. You are an ally of my people." Ryan felt a warmth he had not expected. The danger had passed, yet the bond formed in the fire of preparation and combat was stronger than any barrier or weapon. The council approached, their faces a mixture of respect and relief. "You have proven your words," said the central figure. "Not by promise, but by action. You have stood with us when the storm came. That is the proof we required. Ryan bowed his head slightly. I only did what was needed. And your people fought as one with me. Without you, nothing would have succeeded. The council members nodded. Their trust, once fragile, was now real. The alliance between humans and this alien world had been tested and had survived. As night fell over the city, the stars shone brighter. The enemy fleet had vanished, for now. But more importantly, the defenders had seen what they could accomplish when they worked together. Humans and aliens, standing side by side, had held against a power meant to destroy. Leary turned to Ryan one last time. You saved more than just lives today. You saved hope. And hope is stronger than any weapon. Ryan looked at her, then at the city below, glowing softly in the night. Then we will continue to protect it? Together. And so, under the silver sky and the light of 100 crystal towers, a new chapter began. Two worlds, once strangers, now united in trust, courage, and hope. Ryan had come to protect, and in doing so, he had shown that even in the darkest hours, humans could stand for what was right, not just for themselves, but for others across the stars. The alien woman's question had been answered. The city, its people, and the bond forged in battle would remember that day forever. And far beyond the stars, the darkness that moved through space paused, for it had met more than a city. It had met unity, courage, and the will to survive.